Hey everyone, we're here to talk to you today about this article that Justin and I read in the Washington Post today. And it's this cute little story about a family who saved a piglet last night, I guess, or a couple nights ago. You want to tell the story real quick?
Yeah, so we just came across this story today on Facebook, and basically what happened is this family was driving down the road at night, and there was a lot of snow, and they see a little pink spot coming out of the snow on one of the hills, and they decide to pull over, and they realize that it's a pig actually who's stuck in the snow, and it's not in good shape. It's been there for probably a couple hours or so, and they recognize that it needs help, and they decide to actually pick it up, put it in one of the kids' like hoodies or sweatshirts or something.
Sweaters, I think.
Sweater, and they take it home and end up taking care of it for the rest of the night. Actually, it's totally awesome that they decided to save this pig and that they had compassion for this animal and that they realized that it was in need and that it needed some help. And we definitely think it's awesome that they saved the pig. And we just wanted to elaborate on some of the connections that we felt were relevant to the story and some connections that we might hope that you would make through hearing about this story.
So I have it pulled up here, and let's skip ahead in the article a little bit. And so first of all, they named the pig Wee Wee after the childhood imaginary friend of an uncle. And that's kind of a creepy story that I might want to hear also, but anyway.
Pretty irrelevant to the
Yeah,
rest of the content.
Wee Wee. It's a terrible name for a pig. And then Perry, the son, says that I would like to take him home and accept him as a member of the family. But of course he was realistic. Which, they talk about the father said he was unsure of the rules about keeping livestock at their home in Somerset, Montgomery County. But there's kind of an issue right there because they divide pigs into livestock and don't recognize that pigs, they're animals. We're all animals here.
Yeah, it's just kind of the first part where you kind of see the disconnection going on in this story. This family sees an animal in need and they have compassion for it and they take care of it. They realize that it needs help, and I feel like as humans that's just kind of our natural instinct. When we see an animal or another human, any sort of being in a state of suffering, we feel compelled to help them. And in this case, that's exactly what they did, which is great, and I fully support their actions, but we just kind of wanted to take this time to point out the kind of disconnection that happens a lot of times with these animals. So often they're out of sight, out of mind, pigs, cows, chickens. The reality of what's going on to provide the food and the meat for us is often completely out of our realm of thought.
Yeah. So here's where it gets really good. So as word of the family's heroic piglet rescue spread on social media, old friends came out of the woodwork with different ideas for the piglet. Perry Smith is a founder and former co-owner of Matchbox Food Group, which runs popular eateries in the district. So already, you and I both, we were just like, okay, here we go. So naturally,
this isn't going where I think it's going.
No, so naturally he heard from chefs who inquired, perhaps facetious. So naturally he's heard from chefs who inquired, perhaps facetiously. It doesn't matter though. Hold on. Okay, about other possibilities for the tiny refugee, as in, what are you planning on doing with the pig? Nudge, nudge. It doesn't matter if you inquire facetiously. How often are you just like, oh my God, wow, you are such a hero for saving that animal.
Can I eat it?
Thankfully though, Daddy Pig Rescuer, who has reached out to animal shelters, said he will not turn it over to someone with plans to put it on the dinner menu. So there is some humanity left in this story, which was nice to see. And then it ends with a bittersweet update. The elder Perry Smith wrote to say that Poplar Spring Animal Sanctuary in Poolesville, Maryland has agreed to take the piglet once the snow clears. So I think in terms of safety for the pig, I think that's about as good a place as it's going to get. I mean, and I'm really glad that it's going to an animal sanctuary, especially if the family couldn't have cared for it properly or didn't know how to care for it. It'd be great, it'd be great if people had, more pigs as house pets to kind of start breaking that barrier down. But, if they can't do that, animal sanctuaries are,
A great place for them to go.
yeah.
So one thing I really hope this experience allowed the kids and the family, in this case, to have is, I hope they were able to take that personal connection they made with the pig and allow that to maybe cause them to question some of the other choices they've been making in their lives, such as what they put on their plate at each meal. And I'm just thinking about the reality of what meat is and where it comes from, and realizing that they can make a personal connection with this one pig. I really hope that inspires them to consider switching to a vegetarian or even vegan diet as a result of them realizing that every animal has a story and every animal has feelings, and we have the ability to show compassion to all of these beings and our choices we make on a daily basis.
And that's what we want for you as a viewer. If you're not a vegan, you're not a vegetarian, I hope this video, or we hope this video, makes you think about, everything on your plate, because it all comes from somewhere. And if you have meat on your plate, it came from an animal, and that animal had to suffer and it had to die so that you could have that meat on your plate. And if you think to yourself that, hey, I would save that piglet from the snow, I mean, that piglet would grow up to be a pig, which we would then eat, So if you think about that, and if you're going to eat it, does it really make sense to just save that piglet, or would it make sense to not eat pigs at all and save as many as you can? That pig is just like all the other pigs that suffer in factory farms and, end up on our plate. There's no difference, and there's no difference between those pigs and the cows that we eat, the chickens that we eat, the dogs that we keep as companions, the cats that we have. They all have lives, they all have personalities, and they all have just as much right to live out a fulfilling life as we do.
Yeah, and I would really like to challenge you, if you think you would be one who would save this pig or any other animal in need for that matter, I really challenge you to think about what you're putting on your plate each day, like I did 2 or 3 years ago when I decided to switch to a vegetarian diet, because a lot of times we just don't think about it. It's not even something that goes through our mind. We don't think about the reality of where our food is coming from and the suffering that it involves to get to our plate.
All right, well, I hope you liked the video. We'll post a link to the article in the description. We're on Instagram and Twitter, so follow us on that. And like, subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.